Okay, so we're just looking at the prone armbar. Just face me, bro. So we looked about how when we were playing butterfly guard and we were hand fighting, and maybe I won the underhook on Declan and I got him into that cutting armbar position, and maybe I couldn't finish from here. So I was bringing my elbow underneath, and then we used that to kind of butterfly sweep Declan into mount, and I still had the mount and an underhook here. So from that position, I'm just going to cross face him, and again, it'll just be a battle. The goal is to try and get Declan's arm somewhere at 45 degrees here. I don't want to get it all the way into a head and arm position, because my goal is to put my head between his head and his arm. So how are we going to do that? If I get to there and Declan's resisting and he's pulling that back. So yes, I want to move his elbow towards his head, but I can also move his head towards his elbow. So I can use that cross face this way, resist, and then start to work that combination of head and elbow. Or if I feel I'm not getting anywhere, I'll bring this across and I'll start to drop my right hip and use my whole body weight. See the way I'm not just using my arm, my upper body to move that. Go heavy, bro. So I'm actually dropping my hip and I'm torquing it this way. And then I'll come back and collect the head. And now start bringing his head towards that elbow and drive forward. So there's the position I want there. Once I get to this position, the problem is, just turn this way, bro. The problem is Declan's right arm. Anytime I come across to attack, he's going to find my armpit and just go for a Heisman drive, and then I'm out of the position. So once I can't let go of the head, once I get Declan's arm to the space I want, the first thing is I just put my head on the mat. If he tries to bring his arm back, it's difficult. And now as he tries to push in my armpit, perfect. I'm going to just windshield wiper my shin inside and pin his right arm to the mat with my shin. Once I'm here, my free right leg, just windshield wipers across. So my right foot goes at his right hip, so like a knee on belly type position. And now the goal is to move from, just turn this way, bro, to move from control of his shoulder line to more the end of the wrist. So we're here. Once I'm in the position with my head on the mat, my base is quite narrow here. So if Declan actually just bridged towards his arm, see the way he's nearly taking me over there, take a back step. So what I'm going to do from here is, once I pin his shin, my arm comes across, makes the base, and I flare my right elbow. So now when he bridges now, I can just ride that movement. I don't even need to be really heavy. As he tries to bridge me up, my hips are just sagging on him. The goal is now to move my head up to the end of the lever at the wrist. So with my elbow keeping his head in place and the flaring of my right elbow, I'm just sliding my head up towards his wrist here. Okay, I'll keep his head down, and now from there I'm going to swim my shin in front of his head. Keep basing with my hand now. We're very much into the whole cutting armbar position. Declan's escape from here, once I have his arm straight, will be to bridge and bring his elbow back. So once I get into my position, I've got my head at the end of the lever, my shoulder is pinching just like in our shoulder wrench position. I know he wants to turn his elbow, so both my hands, with them based on my head, can just find his elbow and turn it this way. Try to get it back, bro. Now I can keep it in place with my left hand, my right comes underneath, and now from there I can just hip in to get the position. Notice the way the space between me and Declan, so there's a lot of room to actually pull that arm into. Also, the pressure that I'm doing is not just pulling straight up, I'm actually pointing my finger, and it's more up at this angle here as I engage my hips. So I have pressure with my hips at his shoulder, my head and shoulder at his wrist, and my hips above his elbow. Let's just get another angle on that, bro. So, just slap in your back with the shoulder from here. Just turn this way. So once I win that underhook from here, okay, I start to walk it up. A combination of head pressure, okay, and shoulder pressure. If at any stage Declan's really, just turn this way, bro. If he's really trying to pull his elbow back, I'm going to focus on trying to bring his head towards his arm, or if I can't create that space, I'll bring it this way. And I can drop my hip to try and bring it back, but that's what I want there. Once I kind of get it to this angle and there's a big enough space, my head is going on the mat. That's the first thing I'm thinking about, using that as a base. From there, I'm going to windshield wiper my right foot in, and now from this position, I'm going to windshield wiper my other foot and put it beside his hip. Once I've got that connection now, hand comes over, I'm using my elbow as a base. I don't want Declan bridging, and my right elbow flares out as my head's on the mat. I'm now just sagging him. As he tries to bridge, I feel quite comfortable here, and now the goal is to get my shin over his head. So just sliding this over, and then I start to work my head towards the end of the lever. So my head's moving up, I'm pinching with my shoulder and my head, and now I know he wants to turn his elbow, so my hand finds, I can support with two, I can turn it out, then my right hand comes underneath, and now from here I just engage my hips. I just used Frankie so you can see, bro. Just go from butterfly. So we were playing our butterfly guard position. Maybe I got that onto my shoulder. We're starting to try and work that shoulder wrench cutting armbar that we've covered earlier. Couldn't quite get it, couldn't get the bite, so I used that elbow, and then from there I just used that butterfly guard sweeping. I have mount and I have the underhook. Just let's scoot this way, bro. So first goal is to get his arm to this angle. A combination of head movement this way and also elbow movement this way. So maybe I try to move his head towards his elbow towards his head. If I'm really struggling and he's bringing it back, I can drop my hip, and now I'm using my whole body to smear that up, bring it back another position where I can crunch his head in. Now my head's big enough to go into that space. That's all I want there. Then I'm looking to swim inside. My shin is coming across his right arm. Once I've pinned that, then my second shin comes to here and I'm tight. Now from here, a little bit unstable, and I'm nowhere near attacking this arm yet. And again, my head has to stay on the mat. If it's up, he can just frame in my throat. Yes, take a back step, frame in my throat now. Head stays low. And once I'm here now, it's about taking my arm out, coming to the other side, and fluring my elbow. Bridge. I'm just riding that movement. Bridge towards your arm, this pinned. Yes, so I'm just sagging on him. Now the goal is to get the windshield wiper leg over his face, and I'm using my shin across his neck. Now once I have that basing, and I'm looking to bring my shoulder and my head to the end of the lever at the wrist. Now Frankie wants to turn his elbow, so I just find it with my left hand. I can even support it with my right, try to pull your elbow back, so that's what I want there. Notice the way I have really good base, try to bridge. All my weight's on the side of the arm that I'm attacking. Once I get that turn, try to bring it back, and then I just keep it there. And now from there, hipping in. The pressure on the finish isn't just straight up, it's more turning his elbow this way and torquing it. Just get another angle on that if you just turn legs towards me, bro. Perfect, we'll just go for mount. So, I've got the mount, we'll not go into how to win this, I'll be here all night. Just a combination of elbow pressure and head pressure. If I'm really struggling, I can use my body, so I'll drop my hip, and now I'm using a lot more of my body. Once I kind of get into that position, I'm back to hands, cup to cup, and I just put my head on the mat. And now from that position, now I'm looking to come up and pin that bottom arm. Once I'm there, windshield wiper my other shin in, and then I'm releasing, because now my base is compromised on this side. So this comes over to make a base. It also keeps his head away from his elbow. And now if he bridges, I can flare my right elbow, so I have a lot of base there. Now it's about bringing this shin over as I slide to the end of the lever. Also my shin that was on his belly is going to come down. So I have two knees on the mat, one beside the side of his head,
and one beside his left hip. Now we want to really isolate this left arm. So from our position, I'm just sliding up, getting my ear beside his wrist. I'm also pinching. Now I know he wants to bring his elbow back to his body so I can find it with one hand and pull out. If I feel I'm losing it, I can do that with two hands. I keep torquing, and I just swim the sharp bit of my right wrist on his elbow here, and now I can just hip in. Notice the space between my chest and the mat, so you've got a lot of ability to pull that arm into. So that's the prone armbar from the mount.